What's up guys, Gordon Briley here, and today we're going to go over how to set up for this is just a stiff-legged deadlift. We can do bicep curls, we can do all kinds of different things with this very simple setup. So I'm just going to kind of go over where I have things set. Again, you can always customize depending on your body shape, height, weight, whatever it may be. Just a lot of opportunity to adjust. So as far as this goes, I have this in the second from the last hole, so I have it telescope inside 2 holes. I pin it through there, so that's basically at its max range lengthwise. I have it up about halfway up, pinned underneath the threaded knot for safety. What I do that for is because I want to have this angle here, so it's nice and high here, and then angles down to the floor, and it's actually setting the weight on this end and not necessarily the weights. They're really close to touching, but I can get my weights on and off very easy, and it allows me to have the longest range of motion. And with this, what you'll find is just some minute movements sometimes, or adjustments I should say, will allow you to do different things either a little bit better or a little bit differently. So again, it's all about playing and learning your system. I have on the very front, it's an eye bolt, I should say, with a quick knob that attaches to it. It just passes through, washer on top, that's just for looks, and then you screw it on underneath. Goes really quickly. So that's what the belted squat, a lot of different things. If you're going to do bicep curls, whatever it may be, you can obviously fasten that into any hole, and that changes the dynamics of it as well. So if you moved it up some, that would be different. It would feel different. So right now I have the weight plate holder 12 holes back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, 12 to the very first hole in the weight plate holder. So that's just enough room for me to stand. The weights won't bump into me, but I've pushed them as far this way as possible, so we're getting the most out of that weight. I just have a simple handle with a snap hook connected to that. And like I said, this one's very simple. If you had to do it with a landmine, if you ordered this and you're using your barbell, that's fine. It's going to be the same concept essentially, except you're going to be loading your plates from the front end, but you would still want to elevate this. So we're just going to go over some of the technique. So again, this is for a stiff-legged deadlift. This is what I'm currently doing. And using this handle, I kept with just one snap hook, kept it really short. Now, depending on your range of motion, everyone's a little bit different, how long your hamstrings are. I'm just going to go over some of the quick techniques that I like to teach. I am a teacher, so I always like to implement a little bit of that as well. So when we're doing a stiff-legged deadlift, the main reason that we're going to do that is to isolate the posterior chain. So the more or the less that you bend the knees, the more that it's going to go to the posterior side. So if you're lacking hamstring strength, or in this is an eccentric, this is a good way to stretch essentially. You may not call it a stretch, but it is a dynamic stretch. It's a loaded stretch, which is what I like. I actually don't stretch. I just lift through full range of motion. And I'm not trying to achieve ever hyper mobility. You know, a long muscle isn't necessarily, certainly not a strong muscle, but we're not meant to have excessive ranges of motion. Some people may genetically have that predisposition, but we shouldn't be trying to achieve that extensive long range of motion. So again, we're attacking the posterior chain, upper hamstrings, glutes, and we always want to protect the spine. So we're trying to keep this bottom portion of your back a nice natural arch. You're not trying to be excessive, you're not popping your ribs out. And then we're going to want to pin our shoulders back. That's why I like a neutral grip, because it's external rotation of the shoulder, which is, it's a very stable, very safe shoulder. It's like anti-impingement. So if you can get a neutral grip, then that's a great way to do it as well. But I'm just gonna do standard and make the emphasis on taking my scapula and retracting and depressing. So back here. Now I'm gonna pick it up kind of more like a traditional deadlift. Always start from the top. Here I like to really engage, find my footing, and nice and deep, but at no point should you ever lose that arch in your low back, or you don't want to lose the depression and retraction of the scapula. I like to go to the ball of my foot, the front of the foot, and not make the emphasis on sticking my butt back, but more so falling forward and really maximizing that stretch. And then always safely putting the weight down, maintaining that good arch. You could break the knees if you do not have a good range of motion. Break the knees and kind of sit a little bit to let that down. But for now, that's the basics. It's an easy setup. It's super quick. Great exercise as long as you're doing it right. Hopefully some of those tips help. And if you guys have questions, I'm going to make lots of content eventually that's more specific to training techniques and stuff like that. So if you have questions, let them rip, and thanks for watching.